Is there a place in time where logic breaks down and wonderment begins? Could that be somewhere at some time along an infinite line between the reasonable and the highly unlikely? Join us on a journey into the improbable.
Today's story, Episode 272, A Mystery Solved, read by Steve Peterson. Opening and closing theme by Matthew Erdman. Somewhere and sometime, what you suspect is false might turn out to be true in a way you could never imagine.
Coming up on the next episode of Unsolved: Mysteries in Plain Sight. In the world of podcasting, the line between curiosity and danger can often become blurred. The famous Korean podcaster, Soo-Jin Ahn, walked that treacherous line when she dared to investigate the shadowy rumors surrounding a mysterious organization. Whispers of an elusive and powerful group with tendrils reaching into news media companies around the globe have been circulating on the internet for years. But no one has ever dared to dig deep until Soo-Jin. Then one day she vanished without a trace. Did she stumble upon the ultimate conspiracy? A secret cabal pulling the strings of the world's media, controlling the narratives that shape our reality? Is it the dreaded Illuminati or something even more enigmatic? Join me, Damon Jackson, in the next episode of Unsolved: Mysteries in Plain Sight, as I delve into the chilling story of Soo-Jin Ah's disappearance and attempt to answer the question, did Soo-Jin Ahn get too close to the world's most powerful, secret, and dangerous organization bent on world domination? Subscribe now so you don't miss a minute of this gripping investigation on Unsolved: Mysteries in Plain Sight with Damon Jackson, as I prove once again the truth is hidden right before our eyes. Did you finally get it? Damon demanded impatiently, looking accusingly through the window of the vocal booth. Don't tell me you messed something up again. You're supposed to be the best. I pay for perfection, and that's what I expect. And that's what my audience wants. He angrily pulled off his headphones and yanked open the booth's door. Let me hear what you've got. The nervous technician played the recording back, kneading her hands while Damon listened impatiently. That's not the best take, he admonished angrily. But we're out of time now, so it'll have to do. You all need to step up your games. I didn't get to where I am by being mediocre. Damon looked over at his producer, who was distracted, tapping out a message on her cell phone. Was there a death in your family or something? He asked sarcastically when she finished and looked up. Focus, people. We're here to put out a show, and the next story has real potential to put me at the top of the charts. I want you to burn up social media promoting it. I want the web on fire with speculation about how I will solve the mystery of Soo-Jin Ahn. I don't care what it'll take. I want Mysteries in Plain Sight in the #1 position. However, if texting your friends is more important, you know where the door is. I get requests to work here with the great Damon Jackson every day, so know that you're all easily replaced. He looked around the room, noting the fear and anxiety in everyone's eyes. Satisfied he had made his point, he stormed out of the studio. Damon was waiting impatiently for the elevator, musing about firing the whole lot, when his cell phone chimed with a new message. He pulled it out and thumbed it on, half expecting it was his producer trying to grovel her way back into his good graces. Mr. Jackson, the message started in a formal tone, if you can give us a few minutes, we'd like to show you how we can make you the most influential podcaster in the world. Damon smiled, his dark mood evaporating. His day had just taken a turn for the better. The restaurant the sender had chosen to meet in was a trendy new Mexican-Thai fusion place, the catch being its location in the Centro Histórico district of Mexico City. Damon had been suitably impressed that the company courting him had paid to fly him there business class. The restaurant, named Fire, was nestled in the corner of a small plaza near the Museo de la Ciudad de Mexico, sporting a small street-side patio festooned with unbranded white umbrellas. The restaurant's name was spelt out in small black metal letters subtly mounted beside the entrance, which made it appear more like an exclusive club than a commercial establishment. His rideshare dropped him at the front entrance, where he introduced himself to the maitre d' and was led inside to a secluded private booth at the back. Ah, Damon, so kind of you to come on such short notice, a 30-something woman dressed in a designer business suit greeted, gesturing for him to sit. I have a standing reservation for this table. Fire is my favorite restaurant and the place I like to meet new potential business partners, she explained. He took the only empty chair at the small table surrounded on three sides by a privacy blind. The woman ordered appetizers for both of them, then shooed the waiter away. Damon, I'm Ashley Brooks from Disrupt Global Communications Group, she explained, sipping on a glass of $60 per liter mineral water. We're not a household name. Disrupt prefers to be the invisible secret behind success. We are the fastest growing global marketing company, representing most of the world's top media brands. But that's enough about us. We love what you are doing. We've been tracking your audience engagement and are impressed. Your listeners are devoted and loyal, which is what we're looking for. We want to increase your reach, then leverage that loyalty to help promote our newest client. Liking what he was hearing, Damon relaxed and smiled greedily. I've never really had the resources to maximize my true potential. How big do you think I can get? Number 1 in North America and the top 2 or 3 globally on the English language charts, Ashley replied confidently. I may just be blue skying here, but using a clone of your voice, we could translate your show into other languages, which could get you to number 1 overall. My point is that the potential is there, Damon, and we want to work with you to achieve it. Of course, we'll want to use your newfound influence to get out our clients' messages. That's just how it works, unless you're not. I'm interested, Damon said and leaned forward, placing both arms on the table, rubbing his hands in anticipation. You've got my attention, now what? Ashley pulled a tablet out of her bag and handed it to Damon, then leaned back smugly in her chair like a gambler who had just played their trump card. Damon scanned the tablet, clearly disappointed. I've heard about this before, it's nothing new, just a few vague rumors online that surface now and then. No one's done anything with it because there's nothing to follow up on. So what? There's a rogue satellite that no one is willing to claim. No one knows what it's doing up there, and no way to find anything out. It's a dead end, and dead ends don't make good stories. Who cares? Ashley grinned. The whole world will when you go up there to find out what it is. But that thing's in space, Damon pointed out, handing her the tablet back. Let me explain, Ashley responded calmly, as if she had expected Damon's reaction. Our newest client is a startup called Orbital Adventures. They're a space tourism company underwritten by a well-known tech entrepreneur, so they have very deep pockets, and they recently bought out a launch service and a company that's built a space plane and station. Here's the deal. They'll send you up there to track down that mystery satellite, and you'll stream the whole thing on your feed. You'll be the first podcaster in space. It'll grab a ton of global attention, and will dominate the news. It's a win-win. Orbital Adventures, and you will be on everyone's lips. I'm a podcaster, not an astronaut, Damon complained. You don't need to be an astronaut, Ashley explained patiently. That's why we want someone like you to do this. We want to show that anyone willing to pay can go on a space adventure. Damon thought about it for a moment. Okay, I'm warming to the idea. I get that it'll attract a lot of attention, but I don't think my staff can handle something this big. That's not a problem, Ashley assured him. In fact, we'd prefer to use our people. Get rid of your staff and give us access to your feed and social media accounts. We have the best people in the industry. So the audience will be in the, Damon speculated. Billions, Ashley completed confidently. More than all the other podcasts and vid streams out there combined. Where do I sign? Damon said enthusiastically. Welcome, dear fans, to another thrilling episode of Unsolved Mysteries in Plain Sight, brought to you by my new sponsor, Orbital Adventures. I'm your humble host, Damon Jackson, and today we're going to start a deep dive into the enigmatic world of space. Only 100 miles above our heads lies a vast expanse where thousands of objects zoom around at unbelievable speeds. Because we launched all that stuff, we think we know what is up there. But do we really? Imagine, if you will, the sudden appearance of a stealthy black satellite silently orbiting our planet, its origins unknown, its purpose a mystery. It's a riddle that has puzzled scientists, militaries, governments, and conspiracy theorists alike. But one thing is for certain, no one claims to have launched it, and no one knows what it's truly for. That is until now, until Damon Jackson flies into space to pull back the veils of this unsolved mystery in plain sight, and reveal who or what placed this eerie sentinel in the cosmos. What does it mean for our world? Is it a relic from a forgotten space program, or a harbinger of something more sinister? Is it an alien artifact? Join me, Damon Jackson, on April 20th for a fantastic journey on board Orbital Adventures Star Clipper 1, as I rocket beyond the confines of our Earth into the depths of the unknown, where the mysterious black satellite looms silently overhead, watching, waiting for, well, that is what I will risk my life to find out for you. And don't forget to visit my new sponsor's website to sign up for information on their future flights, or head over to my merch store and use the promo code Into the Dark to get 10% off. Damon waved through the glass of the sound booth, indicating that he was done. A tech he had never met before gave him a thumbs up. True to their promise, Disrupt had provided an entire new production team who had taken over his social media channels, building interest and anticipation in his upcoming orbital investigation. They even convinced mainstream media to pick up the story, and Damon had appeared on talk shows and newscasts. As a result, his numbers had shot up, and Damon basked in his growing fame, finally getting the recognition he knew he deserved. The training was far less extensive than he would have liked, Damon reflected, as he stood anxiously on the gantry just outside the hatch to the slick silver and black spaceplane. He had never been one for heights, so he tried to avoid looking down the side of the 22-story high Indian-made reusable booster. Damon was surprised by the lack of logos on its flanks, thinking that leaving it blank was a missed opportunity, which was odd given how on top of things Disrupt had been. But he trusted their judgment and shrugged the thought off, then turned his attention to the spaceplane he was about to enter. Although he had trained in a mock-up, the thing looked absolutely tiny compared to the booster, and despite all his public bravado, he was scared. He would have run away from the creaking, gas-belching monster he was about to be strapped on top of as fast as his legs would carry him if he could. His eye caught the glint of a camera lens mounted to the ceiling of the gantry, and he tried to hide his nervousness. A gaggle of white-coated technicians fussed over him, before pushing Damon through the small hatch into the cramped cabin on the other side. Just an hour earlier, he had been taken out of quarantine and ushered to the launch pad in an unmarked, blacked-out van, which made him feel like he was sneaking out the back door into space. Damon had imagined waving to crowds of adoring fans lining the road to the launch site. But Ashley had explained the private Caribbean island, where Orbital Adventures spaceport had been built, was not publicly accessible and that everything was being streamed. She had assured him the numbers were better than expected, so much so that the entire web had slowed down. However, the experience of streaming the launch turned out to be as abstract as recording a podcast. Wishing he could see the sea of humanity that had tuned in, Damon tried to imagine that he was standing on a stage outside the spaceport waving to them. But the image was abruptly squeezed out of him as a tech, dressed in white coveralls and a face mask, over-tightened a 5-point harness across his chest. Damon snapped back into the moment and looked around the cramped cabin of the spaceplane. "Where's the astronaut pilot?" he demanded, after realizing he was the lone occupant. Trying not to sound panicked, he added, "How am I supposed to steer this thing to that mystery satellite without a pilot?" "It's okay, Damon. Calm down," Ashley said soothingly, poking her head through the hatch. "Everything is fine. Orbital Adventures had to send the pilot up 2 days ago with a group of business clients to orient them to the operations of their space hotel. You'll rendezvous with him there, then go after the mystery object. I didn't tell you until now, so you wouldn't get concerned. But," Damon began to object. "It's all automated, Damon," she assured. "You won't need a pilot until after you get to the station, and our crew has set up the streaming rig, so you don't need to do anything. It's always on. Just smile and do your thing." She nodded to the techs and the hatch slammed shut. Damon suddenly felt like he had been buried alive and wanted to scream. Remembering the always-on camera, he tamped down his panic and looked directly into the thing's tiny lens, a red LED recording light blinking on its top, and dropped into his public persona. The team here at Orbital Adventures are so confident in my training that I'll be doing the first part of this epic exploration on my own, he lied. They've just secured the hatch, and the Star Clipper has switched to internal power. All lights on the board are green. I'm getting a message. Looks like it's a go for launch. Damon delivered the scripted lines like the pro he aspired to be, managing to keep his fear and concern at bay until a sudden creak and bang made him jump. His face went ashen as the whole rocket seemed to sway, and then with a deafening roar he was slammed so hard into his seat that he thought his back might break. Everything rattled until Damon was sure the spaceplane would disintegrate around him. Ignoring the camera, he closed his eyes and gritted his teeth. After a few minutes, the rattling and roar subsided, and Damon opened his eyes. Through the small forward windows, he saw that the sky had turned black, and smiled. The LED on the camera was still blinking, making Damon curse. He quickly recovered his composure. "I've cleared the lower part of the atmosphere, and wow, what a view!" There was a loud bang, and Damon would have jumped out of his seat had he not been strapped in. "Second stage separation confirmed." The radio crackled. He sighed in relief, hoping no one would notice, then risked a glance at the script taped to the arm of his spacesuit, calmed his mind, and became the fearless investigator on his way to solve yet another case. Looking into the camera, he tried to keep his voice calm and steady. "My journey today on board Orbital Adventures' amazing Star Clipper will take me on a quest to unravel the mystery of the enigmatic dark satellite. Who or what placed this eerie sentinel into the cosmos? That's what I'm about to find out, so stay with me as I stream every exciting and amazing detail." Out of the corner of one eye, Devon noticed something change on the spaceplane's control console. In training, no one had bothered to explain what the status lights meant, and he had been assured there would be an astronaut with him. The red light on the camera suddenly turned off. "Hey!" he complained, then touched the only control he knew how to use, the radio. This is Devon Jackson." He spoke experimentally into the mic extending from the control console. "The light on the camera just went off. I was told I would live stream the whole trip. Get it back online," he demanded. Damon waited impatiently, and when no one responded, he tried again. "What kind of shoddy organization are you running down there? This is the biggest live stream ever, and you're messing it up. Get me back online." Instead of a reply, the spaceplane rotated 180 degrees and its engines began to fire. "This is Jackson. What's going on?" he demanded, trying to suppress his growing panic. A screen on the console flickered into life, and a video began to play. It was a silent news report from a field that looked like the private spaceport he had just launched from. It cut to a shot of a spaceplane landing with the caption, "1 hour ago, Damon Jackson returned from his historic flight." The video switched to a shot of two figures being helped out of the vehicle. The shorter astronaut removed his helmet, waved and smiled at the cameras. Damon gasped. He was looking at himself. Angrily, he yelled into the mic, "What's going on?" For a few seconds, there was only static. Then Ashley suddenly broke in. "Mr. Jackson, as you can see from the newscast, you've been replaced. We streamed that flight 2 days ago while you were in quarantine. Your launch today was publicly listed as a cargo run." "Why?" Damon demanded indignantly. "We've digitally cloned your voice and image, so we won't need your services anymore," Ashley explained in a clinical voice through the radio's static. "However, I'm sure you will be pleased to know that your persona's live cast pushed you to #1 globally. Your penchant for getting to the truth is now legendary and will be one of the most important assets in our toolkit, Mr. Jackson. Our persona of you will join our growing library of virtual influencers, which now includes most of the world's top media personalities." "Soo-Jin Ann," Damon gasped in realization. "She was on to you, wasn't she?" And went into hiding before we could get to her and create a replacement. The roar of the spaceplane's engines increased, pinning Damon to his seat. Through the front portal, the Earth's rotation seemed to be slowing. He wasn't sure, but the clouds appeared to be getting closer. Damon screamed. but no one was listening.
Hey everyone, this is where we recommend new podcasts we think you'd love. This time it's called Looters, and it's a really funny, action-packed sci-fi western show. It's an actual play podcast, which means that it's all improvised storytelling that uses dice rolls to throw a wrench into the characters' plans every now and then. They just launched on July 18th, 2023. So this is a great time to jump into the story. New episodes are released every Tuesday, so go check them out at looterspodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can help us continue creating original content twice a month by either heading over to ko-fi.com/makeshiftstories and making a one-time donation, or becoming an ongoing supporter at patreon.com/makeshiftstories. Makeshift Stories is released around the beginning and middle of the month. This month's story was read by Steve Peterson and written by Alan V. Hare. Opening and closing themes were composed and recorded by Matthew Erdman. Audio production and editing by Makeshift Studios. If you'd like to connect with us, please send an email to makeshiftstories@gmail.com or visit our website at makeshiftstories.com. Links to both are in the show notes. Makeshift Stories is released under a Creative Commons non-commercial attribution, no derivative license, which means you are free to share our stories. Just remember to credit us and don't alter anything.